All right, another round of applause for Marcus Mate from Bridge Tower. Thanks so much, Marcus. All right, next on the stage is a co-founder from Confio, Ethan Frey. Wait, hold on, we're getting our mic set up. Hold on, pause. Ethan Frey, co-founder from Confio.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for that last talk, Marcus. It's actually very interesting. We're building almost exactly what you described in T-grade. So check the talk tomorrow. I'll talk to you later, hopefully. But first, I'm here to talk about COSMWASM today. So how many of you have heard of COSMWASM? I want to see hands here. Who's heard of COSMWASM? All right, this is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see this. How many people are building with COSMWASM right now? All right, that's some good hands. That's good hands. I'm going to change this. Next time I'm going to see this, all these hands are coming up. So I'm here to tell you about COSMWASM. Last time I saw so many people in Cosmos speaking in front of you in person, I was presenting a COSMWASM prototype in the hackathon in Berlin 2 years ago. And now I'm really proud to be in front of you guys again and explaining what COSMWASM 1.0 is here, what we can do, and encourage everyone to use it. So I'm going to talk about what COSMWASM 1 is, what you can do now, how you can build your business, and where we're going in the future. So I'm excited to show you some power-ups here. So first, for those of you who don't know COSMWASM and haven't used it, we have a few key elements that make it powerful. We tried to produce basically Ethereum level contracts, and beyond that, try to reproduce what SDK can do. So we started by adding Storage Plus. Storage Plus is super powerful, super easy state management. Much more like Ethereum, but even more powerful. Rather than, if you've used the Cosmos SDK, it's a lot of bit mapping. So we've just made it really easy for everyone to write really complex apps. We've also have sub-messages. This is a very clean way of allowing communication and composition between different contracts. So we avoid reentrancy completely, unlike Ethereum. We isolate failure modes. And unlike the SDK, we ensure rollbacks happen. So if something errors, it does not leave anything in a half-broken state. So you're able to recover everything really nicely. And again, what we avoiding all these bugs, security by design. That's a key point here. So we started by looking at the Ethereum as Solidity and all of the different attack vectors. There are about 20 of them listed. Open Zeppelin consensus listing various attack vectors on Solidity. And we went out to design the architecture so they're not possible. There's no reentrancy attacks. There's no accidental public things, no uninitialized variables. There's a whole slew of them. It's on a website. We went to show that it's impossible to make these bugs. You can still write bugs in your business logic, but you don't have to worry about little things sneaking in because you forgot to put some decorator somewhere or forgot to put some pub mention somewhere. And easy upgrades. So, of course, your first code is not ever perfect. You need to change it. You need to add new versions and new versions. Whether it's a feature you missed or a little bug edge case you didn't cover, and make it super easy to upgrade your code. And this is what COSMWASM gives you. This is what's made it super powerful on Terra and on many other chains. Juno just launched 1.0, very excited here, and Cyber Congress 2 hours ago launched another COSMWASM chain. So this is live, and this is what people are using right now to build next generation smart contracts on the Cosmos ecosystem. So I want to talk today about some superpowers we have, right? So you know the basic COSMWASM, maybe, what it can do. One thing we spent a lot of time working is called snapshot maps. A map is the way we store state in COSMWASM. And this snapshot map lets you take a lazy snapshot of any history. So do you ever want to running some code and wish you could say, hey, what did it look like when the vote started? Show me the state in the past. Let me query who were the members when the vote started, or what the balance was at the last epoch of distribution, right? You don't have to do all the epoch calculations right at the time. You can lazily query them later. So it's a super lazy, no overhead snapshot that's updated on write, copy on write. And this allows very powerful stuff. Right now, all the governance code you have, like all the stuff that powers DAOs is using this. So without thinking about it, you can make a DAO that takes a snapshot of the voting, whether it's a token-weighted voting, staked, unstaked. You can have a DAO that doesn't even require staking, but takes an automatic snapshot of all token balances at the beginning of the voting, whether freely unlocked, and then use those balances to calculate your voting weight a day, 5 days later. So I think it allows all the evolution of DAOs and governance to happen and not worry. So the groups module, if you use this in Cosmos, fails at this point. If the group changes while proposal is open, the proposal is canceled, which works for very static groups. But if you want really dynamic groups, you want DAOs, very fluid membership, this allows next generation governance and smart contracts to really bring that in. So I know I met some people today working on governance and bringing it in there. I think you'll see in the next few months some really next level stuff coming out there with amazing UIs and really powerful governance, really powerful DAOs. So shout out to the DAO team. The next thing is migrations. So one thing that's hard in SDK is migrating. You have to dump your whole blockchain, start holding a binary, switch it out. There's a whole new upgrade module, which made it a lot easier. Like, oh my God, it's not like hours of dumping JSON, parsing it, hoping it comes up again. This was like horrible a year ago. It's much, much better. But still, it's a very painful process and requires a whole chain to coordinate. This way, your application can migrate. Right now, you can update one application by itself like that. As long as you vote to upgrade it, you can upgrade it. What people don't know is it doesn't just have to upgrade from an old version to a new version, but you can do complex transformations like Mario here turning into Raccoon. What it allows you to do is change everything. When you do a migration, you can issue anything a contract can do. You can instantiate new code. You can create new contracts. What that means is, for example, I could start with a multisig for governance for my DeFi protocol, right? And I don't want to change the address. I could deploy a DAO with a different address. It's annoying. But how I turn that multisig, the same address, into a DAO with token weighted? I can have a migration that will create a new token contract, give distribution to the people that are currently members of the multisig. It will then create a new, and then replace itself with a new governance thing that uses a token distribution for voting weights. And it can do this complete transformation as part of a migration. So migration allows these crazy things, and other people can keep using their multisigs, and I've turned my multisig into a full-on DAO in one thing, and it really allows gradual upgrading of your protocols. So most protocols eventually want complex governance, token-weighted governance, more complex governance, but no one start off. Day one, it's me, 3 core engineers that have the multisig to upgrade it. And this allows really, really smooth transitions of that. So I think as we get into more complex use cases on Cosmos, especially the DeFi space, and collective governance becomes very important, this really allows a smooth path to go from that. You can also replace, for example, a simple token pool, a Uniswap pool, with a router that routes to many other pools, even interchain pools, maintaining the same interface at the same location. So I think it's a lot of things people haven't even understood what migrations can do. I think it's going to be really powerful when people say, I have an MVP DeFi platform out here and upgrade the protocol in really complex ways while maintaining compatibility, same address and the same API with other protocols. And just call into it, and it just gets more and more powerful. Another one, which I really find interesting, is permission contracts. So I have a few issues with proof of stake. People talk about liquid staking. There's various things on it. I think there are lots of attack vectors on it, but I don't want to go into that here. So 2 years ago, when I was working on COSMWASM, I also presented proof of engagement. It's a way of mixing proof of stake and proof of authority, not as one spectrum, but as a two-dimensional graph. So you have authority and you have stake, and you require people to have both authority and stake. It's effectively what's done in Cosmos right now. The top validators all have reputation on the line. The reason why it works is not just there's money on the line, but their reputation, right? So if you look at the top 10, 20 validators on Cosmos, everyone knows who they are. They're not anonymous people. If someone bought a bunch of tokens and came there and no one knew who they were, and they started scamming it and people would hesitate to delegate to them. And that is how engagement and authority is actually very important to keep the security of the Cosmos Hub right now. So when launching T-Grade, we decided we need to build that into the protocol. Because when you build up your new blockchain, you don't have a large community, and you don't have billions of dollars, it's hard to build that trust. So we're going to build that into the ecosystem. So when looking at that, we said, why are we going to build these Go modules? Let's build them as contracts. And doing that, we actually took the core COSMWASM modules, core WASMD, we did not fork them at all. We just extended them in our application and added permission abilities. That allows governance to permission or bless certain contracts and give them superpowers. Superpowers like begin block, end block, changing the validator set, minting arbitrary tokens. All the things you can do in native modules that you cannot do in contracts, you can assign to contracts. This will be open sourced in the next month or two with T-Grade and able to be embedded in other applications as well, other blockchains that want to use that powers. And I think this shows the power of this. So in T-Grade, we basically built about 7 different contracts that are wired together, wrapped in Go. So our Go module is calling these 7 contracts to wire them together, and they are running and calling back into the core of the SDK. What this shows is not just the permission contracts do anything the native module can, but the ability of customizing it. We're really tied deeply to SDK. So anything you're doing in the SDK, in the native modules, you can build bindings to COSMWASM contracts. So they can call into it to those superpowers, or in the Go modules, you can call into your contracts, both ways. And that's totally being demonstrated in T-Grade with proof of engagement. And the idea of permission contracts, I think, will open up whole new potentials. One example is a cron job, something that you want, everyone complains. I want something to happen. When I delegate my stake, why can't I return it in 3 weeks at that point? Why does it have to withdraw it manually, right? You have to schedule a task for later. Ethereum alarm clock is an example of dealing with this. So maybe you just want a contract that has a begin block privilege. They can run that every begin block, checking to see if there's tokens and pending jobs to do, and it will dispatch that work. So I think this is going to be a very opens up possibilities, not just having permission contracts, but what you can do with customization, showing you can customize anything. And so all of your work in the SDK already, you can expose to contracts. And finally, what I think the real superpower of COSMWASM is IBC contracts. They talked about dynamic IBC earlier, and I think Zaki mentioned Agoric. I think the only real dynamic IBC is COSMWASM. The reason is to have IBC work, both sides must speak the same protocol, right? And they can upgrade that protocol over time. It takes a long time to develop IBC protocols. They must be written in Go modules, deployed to one chain, upgraded, deployed in the partner chain, upgraded. Oh, it didn't quite work right. We have to design it there. It's designed first. So this gives us a chance for iterative design of IBC protocols at a much, much faster speed. You can deploy a contract on one chain, like Juno. You can deploy a contract on another chain, T-Grade, and they're already doing a new protocol that never existed. Anyone that wants to use that can send it. We can then upgrade those. Oh, we're missing a feature. We didn't handle an edge case. We upgrade those while they're live. And when they're stable, we take away the upgrade rights and make them, and like freeze them. We can do that whole thing. The only reason this works is both sides, the same contract can run on both sides. I can permissionlessly upgrade the IBC protocol on both sides and develop it. I think all future IBC protocols that are not currently in planning stages and research stages right now will basically be built this way. Built out, tested, battle tested between 2 chains, and once they're established, a spec will come out there, they'll be ported to Go, native modules, everything else. But really, just getting your hands dirty, iteration approach will happen. And this will unlock whole new approaches to IBC. So maybe people can't really think of what you can do with IBC right now. You know, we have token transfers, we have NFT transfers coming up, shared security. Most of these ideas were out there in the white paper. I'm talking 2017, these ideas were out there, right? They're great ideas. They're wonderful, they're basis ones. But there's so much more. DeFi came out in 2020, really, hit the stride in 2020. There's so many more ideas we can't do. And I think the future of DeFi is cross-chain composition. Let me give you an example of one. If I want to build a DeFi product, let's say I want to build a stablecoin or a lending protocol. I take collateral, and I need to be able to query the current market rate of that collateral, and I need to liquidate it if it's below 150% yield, 200% yield, 200% collateralization, right? This is basic DeFi. The way it works on Ethereum is they can use Uniswap, they can use SushiSwap, Balancer. The way it works in Terra, they can use TerraSwap, which has liquidity. Now, if I launch my new DeFi protocol, a new COSMWASM chain, I don't have a DEX. So first, the chain has to launch their own DEX. They have to compete with other DEXs that exist, attract $500 million of liquidity onto their own DEX before they can build their money market contract on their chain. No one wants to do that. What I want to do is use the liquidity on Osmosis, liquidity on Sif chain, liquidity on Emerus. Use all of that behind my money market protocol. So I can deploy my lending borrowing protocol on a chain. People can take advantage of it, but all those contracts can be tied to another DEX. We can have an exchange, one swap. That contract will be able to sell a token on another chain as one IBC packet. That contract will query other chains for the current market price with one packet. So I think these are concepts we can build, right? And think of all the different composition happening in DeFi. This happens in Ethereum, for example, right now, between contracts in the same chain. All those protocols can be built to be multi-chain. So you can have one chain having the yield farming protocol, right? Another one having a DEX. And you can deploy another contract in a third chain, which is making use of yield farming. Maybe it deploys on 4 different chains, yield farming over multiple chains. An aggregator built on one chain. So I think that could really happen in IBC. It's going to be a huge space of experimentation and allowing everyone to specialize in different areas. And allowing us to collaborate still instead of fighting over liquidity. Right? Instead of fighting who has liquidity, we can make use. I don't need to steal your liquidity. I can use your liquidity in my other protocol. So I think this is really going to be a great place of collaboration. And I think it's only going to be possible at some realistic time frame, at this rate of every 1 month, 2 month deployment with COSMWASM contracts. So I really think this is the future, honestly, of IBC. And IBC, I think, is the future of Cosmos. All right, so WinStar. When are you guys ready to deploy your COSMWASM project? Any questions? Yeah?
Yeah, first of all, great design. Second, what do you think about smart contracts that are, let's say, interoperable between COSMWASM, Ethermint, and Agoric?
I think these are different frameworks. Agoric will be able to run dynamic IBC as well. So if there's a protocol, you can call from a COSMWASM chain to Agoric. But as far as I know, Agoric will only run one chain running their VM. Where many chains are running I know as far as I know, many chains have already embedded COSMWASM. It's really easy to embed. And Agoric is a very hard thing to embed into a Cosmos chain. So I think it would be great to collaborate, sending IBC messages from a DeFi protocol on Agoric to a DeFi protocol on COSMWASM chain. And they can iterate as well. It's 2 sides here. They can iterate on both sides, like I said before. Ethermint, I don't know the IBC support at all. I'd be very curious to talk to. I should talk to Fede here, what their roadmap is for IBC support and exposing IBC to native contracts. Cool. Any more questions here? Any ready for COSMWASM deploying? Oh, the back.
When are IBC contracts ready?
They're ready now. Everyone with 1.0, COSMWASM has them. Terra, unfortunately, decided to fork COSMWASM a year ago and disabled IBC. So they're not running vanilla. But if you run WASM out of the box, so Juno deployed it a week or 2 ago. It's in testnet. OK, Juno testnet? Juno testnet is running a WASM D 1.0 out of the 0.20 out of the box, and it has IBC contracts. Cyber Congress deployed a few hours ago using WASM D 1.0, and that is supporting it. It's deployed. It's been supported for a while, and anyone deploying the recent version will have it. And sorry, we tested this stuff in testnet in older version. We tested this last February, March in the HackAtom RU. We deployed a contract where people were able to make a CW20 token on one chain, send it over to the other chain, and trade in AMM. So that was already demoed 6-7 months ago. But the final version of it is now live in these networks.
Yeah, can you talk a bit more about dev support for this? I know some other smart contracts have maybe a token behind them, and obviously Cosmos has a lot of money behind it. What's the support for maintenance, developer instruction, certification, or anything for like building a really good COSMWASM developer pool?
OK, that's a good question. Thank you. So we had ICF funding for a while, and that's where we built most of this stuff. Until about March, we were basically almost entirely funded. Well, the Cosmos Community Pool gave us nice grants, and ICF. And since then, we were aiming to build up, basically be support for other people. That didn't seem to be very profitable, I would say, or a lot of people interested. So we focused on building on blockchain, which is actually much more investable. We're still supporting this, and we've spun off support in a way. There's a new thing called the InterWASM DAO. So we have been writing documentation, doing support. I'm manually probably spending half an hour a day on Discord supporting people personally. There are other devs supporting people. we aim to support it. The hardest part is probably learning Rust. And once you learn Rust, there's definitely plenty of support opportunities online for it. We need to centralize that. So Confio, who I'm working for, can no longer focus on solely maintaining this. We have founded the InterWASM DAO, or co-founded it, with a few other chains. It's currently a multi-sig on the hub, but will launch very shortly as a DAO contract. This is collecting donations from many other COSMWASM chains, including Secret Network, including Juno, Confio is dedicating to it, IrisNet, I think Terra, are dedicating money to it. And that pool will be used to pay for all kinds of tooling, things like Remix IDE, people are building IDE for it, documentation, training, all the other stuff for COSMWASM. We're also working on some trainings. But if you're interested in trainings, developer training, like one-on-one classes, you can talk to me later. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.